Engineered Explosives is a main deck way of interacting with problem cards out of decks like humans and other aggressive decks like elves, while it's also a free spell that triggers Jeskai Ascendancy and untaps our creatures. So it nets us mana mid-combo and also provides main deck interaction for us. So it's basically interaction that's good during our combo. I said this deck keeps most hands that have lands and spells, but I'm actually going to mulligan this one. So what you're looking for when you're playing this deck, if you haven't played it before, is you need a mana creature and a way to get your Jeskai Ascendancy going. And because this hand only has one land, and it doesn't have a mana creature or a copy of Jeskai Ascendancy in it, it just needs to find a little bit too much, so I'm going to throw this back. This hand is very reasonable. This Glittering Wish may not look like it, but our fourth copy of Jeskai Ascendancy is in our sideboard. So this hand actually has Mana Dork and Jeskai Ascendancy. If you want to learn more about this deck, you can check out my articles here. I have a fairly recent primer that includes a sideboarding guide on gatheringmagic.com. Poop Bears? Smells like Poop Bears. Title Scholar, yep. This is a matchup where we're very happy to have Jeskai Ascendancy, or we're very happy to have Engineered Explosives in our main deck. Splashing Mentor seems sweet. Mentor is a very good Magic card. This tweet just... I think this might be my most retweeted post at this point. 53. I'd have to go back and look, but God bless. Oh, Magic Finance. This is interesting. I could see them taking the Fatestitcher here. I think they're supposed to take the Glittering Wish, but I could see them taking the Fatestitcher, especially if they're not super familiar with what's going on. This is like a tier 47 combo deck. Huh. So, I'm actually going to take the Sylvan Caryatid here. While you don't need 2 mana creatures to combo off, it is easier to combo off when you have 2 mana creatures. And Sylvan Caryatid blocks my opponent's 2/2. So, like, it's a piece of soft removal that's also going to make comboing easier later. I went 4-3 at the tournament I played with this deck. I punted one match. I got pretty unlucky in a second. And then the third match was just an unwinnable matchup. That's really unfortunate. So now we lose the Glittering Wish and the Birds of Paradise. That is pretty bad for us. Double land feels really bad. Let's get the Noble Hierarch down. If we hit an Ascendancy, we might actually be able to go next turn. Getting our 5th mana source into play is nice because it does mean if we draw another Glittering Wish, we can draw and cast Ascendancy in the same turn, which is decent. Displacer is really scary with the creatures that they have in play currently. I'd love an Engineered Explosives here. So, I'm actually going to start by casting the Cerulean Wisps, because if we draw a Jeskai Ascendancy, I want to be able to cast it. Huh. So do I want to cast the Serum Visions this turn? Yeah, I think I do. Because they're gonna draw step. They're gonna draw step Displacer, Scholar me. So I want to just try and like dig to 2 copies of Ascendancy just like this. So now I get to block here, take 6, go to 5, and then next turn they're going to take my Ascendancy away, I guess. We're probably dead here. I think we fumbled just a little bit too long. It's actually kind of funny. This is actually a situation where having a copy of Fiery Justice on my sideboard would actually be very, very good. So this is, I like had the Fiery Justice in my sideboard for ages and like, wait, what? Maybe they don't get it. Do they? They have Path to Exile, maybe? There's a good chance they die here. There's a good chance they die here. We could brick. We're not 100%. You're almost never 100% with this deck, which is part of the fun. But I am very confused. And that's one of the upsides of playing a deck like this, is that your opponents are often not going to be familiar with the things that you're doing. So you gain percentage points in positions like this from them not knowing. Steam Flogger with the $1 donation. Sounds good. Steam Flogger, as a heads up, there's no link in your donation message there. Distinction with the 3-month resubscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate the continued support. So what do I want to do here? I have this Glittering Wish, but it doesn't really get anything useful at the moment, right? Yeah, I'm gonna Noxious Scarscale Ritual at this point. So I'm gonna make white, I'm gonna make green. I'm gonna pay 2 health and put Scarscale on top of my deck here, which untaps my creatures. Serum Visions is a great draw. Make blue. I actually think I want to loot through this Glittering Wish, right? Although I guess there's only one more Glittering Wish in my deck. So I guess I don't actually want to loot through this, because I know the top card of my deck, and I know I don't want to discard either of them. So I'm going to decline this loot, because I know there's a Scarscale Ritual on top of my deck. And we'll go bottom here. I suppose there's another Ascendancy in my sideboard. I guess I could go get that at some point too. And now I'm going to loot because we don't know the top card of my deck. Get rid of that. Am I just going to get an Ascendancy here? I think I'm just going to get an Ascendancy. So that way I can just like power up my dorks faster. So I think we're supposed to loot pretty aggressively here. I'd love to use this. This is match 1, game 1 with this deck. So if you're not into Ascendancy, we're going to be Ascendancing for a little bit. I really like this deck, but I know it's a pretty specific type of deck that certain people don't enjoy. This deck's like, I like to describe this deck as Sweet Storm. It's basically a Storm deck that's not 100% deterministic, which does make it worse in some positions, but I find it more fun to play. So the key here is in between these untaps, we float mana. Opponent packing it in here. We should have lost this game. Our opponent took the wrong thing and we were able to punish them. So when you're sideboarding with this deck, and this is all detailed in the article that I laid out, that I linked earlier. Corey Bollinger, thank you for the 7-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Basically, we have 4 types of what I classify as anti-disruption in this deck. So we have silence, we have silence, which is anti-counter magic. We have Leyline, which is anti-discard, and we have Path to Exile, Abrupt Decay, Engineered Explosives, which is anti-permanent based disruption. And against a Thalia, Thought Not Seer, Tide Hollow Sculler deck, I definitely think we want the anti-permanent based disruption. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring these in. I think I'm gonna trim this Noxious Revival out. And I think I wanna leave these explosives in as well. Usually when I'm looking for more trims, I go to like trim opt. Maybe I don't want both explosives. Explosives are a little expensive for actually taking their stuff off the table. I'm just gonna leave one in. So I'll have 2 paths, an Abrupt Decay, and an explosives. I don't think Leyline is worthwhile. They do have some discard in their deck, but I feel like they don't quite have enough of it to make the Leyline worth it. I think I'd rather the permanent base disruption. You should read what Wish does, Team America. The Weeb Army, back again just in time to see what horrible deck Justin has put in the queue. Thank you for the 3-month resubscription. As a heads up, we have a fancy new Google form for submitting decks for the queue, so be sure to use that to submit your donation deck for the month with your tier 3 sub. Thank you for the big sub. Yeah, it's possible that without Fiery Justice, an Abrupt Decay should stay in the sideboard to wish for. I could see that. Previously, we always had Fiery Justice to reach for, but I don't know. A lot of the things we want to kill are like Tide Hollow Sculler, so Wear Tear still kills that. Stitcher actually doesn't really help you combo strictly faster. Stitcher mostly helps you, it gives you more mana mid combo. What are you trying to accomplish by adding a 1 mana wish target? What's the goal? What's the purpose? What problem or issue are you trying to fix or solve by adding that? So I'm gonna go bottom with this, top with this. Having our Ascendancy on top of our deck is actually extremely good for us here. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a... If they have the Processor Eldrazi here, we're gonna be in a little bit of trouble. But if they don't, we're gonna be in a pretty good spot. No, we're a creature deck. We can't win without creatures in play. Actual sweepers are bad. Actual sweepers are bad. We don't want sweepers in our deck. We want cards that only kill them. So we're gonna lose our Glittering Wish here. If they don't have a Thalia off this Aether Vial, we actually have a chance to go off next turn. Yeah, if they're representing removal, though, Toolboxer, you can play around stuff like that a lot of the time. Also, good players are going to kill your creatures aggressively in this matchup if they understand what's going on. So your opponent killing your creatures mid-combo is generally pretty rare. They could have, like, a Leonin Relic Warder or something like that here. We also don't have a ton of cards in our hands. So there's a good chance we just, like, even if they don't have disruption, that we just brick off here. Let's get to loot. The fact that we didn't draw a non-creature spell there means we're probably done. Manamorphose. So I actually can't cast this turn. I think I'm gonna play this Birds of Paradise out. Because there's a non-zero chance they can kill this other one next turn. Yeah, if you're going to suggest cards we wish for, please read Glittering Wish. It's a card that people often don't know the text box of. So, Abundant Growth is actually ideal on Gemstone Mine because it gives Gemstone Mine extra abilities. So, Gemstone Mine now works even if my opponent, it doesn't have to take counters off it to work. Did I talk about Ideas Unbound in my article? I feel like I did. You should read my article if you haven't. Yeah, read my article. I was pretty confident that I put one in there, but read my article. I think the actual answer is I'm not clairvoyant. If I was clairvoyant, I'd do something better with my time than predict Magic the Gathering. We're fatal pushing my bird. So in response to this, I'm going to cast Manamorphose. So I can generate... I don't think mana is going to be our bottleneck here, but just in case mana is going to be our bottleneck, I'd like to get some extra triggers here. Do they have trips removal? They have trips removal here. We could actually be in trouble. And like I said, most of the time, people are going to kill your creatures in response to, or like proactively, because I think it's correct to kill them proactively a lot of the time, but that doesn't mean they always do that. Alright, so this has an untap trigger on the stack still, so I'm gonna untap this Gemstone Mine. So we definitely are in danger of bricking here. I guess I get 3 looks at the spell here, which is pretty good. So when you're comboing with this deck, you always want to be identifying whatever your bottleneck is at a given time in a given game. So you're going to bottleneck on one of 2 things. You're either going to bottleneck on not having enough mana, or you're going to bottleneck on not having enough cards. Currently, in this game, our biggest risk is bottlenecking on not having enough cards. And Nagging Thoughts and Glittering Wish are the ways we generate card advantage in this deck mid-combo. Because Nagging Thoughts has Madness, which means when we discard it to Jeskai Ascendancy, it allows us to end up gaining a card as opposed to being just having card selection. Norman, with that 8-month tier 2 resubscription, thank you very much and welcome back. I do appreciate that. Be sure to let me know which deck currently in the queue you'd like to see a little bit sooner. As always, the people that support me with bigger subs get to pick how soon we do see content here. So my opponent has 1 card left in their hand. I feel like if they had a removal spell, they would have used it already, but who knows? Did I miss anything else? No, I'm good. I've got 16 minutes, and we're up a game. The only time I've ever timed out with this deck on stream was literally the very first match we ever played it. Alright, so we get a bunch of looks at spells here. Perfect. And this gives us some more looks. Again, we just want to keep drawing cards, casting cards. It is a very involved deck. That's why I get the big bucks though, Marty, because I can play the involved deck and still be pseudo-interactive. This is like KCI and the fact that Morpho... So this deck doesn't actually have an infinite combo in it, unlike KCI, though. You can build the deck with an infinite combo, but I don't actually think you need it. Black-White Goryopox sounds good. The deck was sweet. Hopefully, like, whenever we come back to the sweet decks, I'm, like, always excited, but, like, I'm always usually a little bit worried in the back of my mind, like, it was so sweet last time. What if it's bad this time? What if the sweetness was a lie and we just got lucky? Zach Elsick, what would you know about dirtling with KCI? You think you're some kind of expert on KCI? What do you know? What's going on, Zach? Happy Monday. Alright, so Cerulean Wisp actually nets us a mana when we're going off, because in addition to getting us the untap trigger with Jeskai Ascendancy, it also untaps the creature again itself. Go back to barber shops. Uh-oh, chat. Chat, we're getting into we could brick territory here, which is a little scary. We really need a Glittering Wish. We get 2 shots. If we don't draw a non-creature spell here, we're actually going to brick and die. So we need a non-creature here. Okay, whew, God bless you, Sleight of Hand. Things are getting a little bit hairy there. Things are getting a little bit hairy there for a second, chat. I was getting a little concerned. That's well, we could, and this is why I like this deck. It's not, you gotta keep thinking about what you're doing. You can't just like turn your brain off and go, okay, you're dead. You have to be making correct percentage plays while you're comboing. Path to Exile actually nets us 2 spells here because it gets us back this Jeskai Ascendancy. Wow. Wow, am I glad that this nets us 2 spells. Holy shit. We are running bad, chat. Bad. Bad. Get down with your bad self. This is a long match. Holy cool. Woo. All right, well, remember when I said we weren't going to be in danger? Well, we're in danger again. We're in danger, Will Robinson. Danger. All right, well, we get the Jeskai Ascendancy back. If we miss on this looting here, we're going to brick off. So we need to draw a non-creature spell on this next loot, or we're not going to be able to successfully combo here. Okay, all right, give me, Daddy needs a big one, survey says. Oh, jeez. I don't know that I've ever bricked off this deep into the combo before. I don't know that I've ever bricked off when I'm that deep before. Whew. Whew. I think I'm supposed to play both of these out. We do get to attack for 12. We're not dead. The game is not over. We haven't like lost the game guaranteed, but we're not in a pretty spot. We're no longer winning the game. Now I think I'm supposed to play it because of discard spells out of them. Like Thought Knot Seer and all that jazz. We do get to block for forever. Do I want to hold on to this? I think I want to just hold on to this. Do I hold on to this or do I cast it for 4? Yeah, they did have dubs removal, which is true. I'm going to hold on to this for now. I'm just going to pass, yeah, because we can use it to loot next turn. So we do get 2 loots. This does expose it to discard spells, but I think holding it to loot makes sense. You don't need to attack to win. We don't have to win the game by attacking in this deck. Wow. Do we have enough spells left in our stream? With 2 Jeskai Ascendancies, we should be fine. I'm gonna put this on 4. So these will untap. We have another set of untap triggers. Float some mana in response. So one of the things you have to get past here when you play this deck is that it's gonna feel like you're flooding out a lot with this deck. You're really not actually flooding out. The reason why it feels like you're flooding out, even though you're not, is because we draw a lot of cards every game with this deck. So the fact that we draw a lot of cards means you just see a lot of cards, which means you're gonna see a lot of lands. Will there be any pig flooping today? I don't know. I actually don't have a deck lined up after this one. The first 3 memes we had lined up this morning like kind of fell on their faces. So I need to look at the queue and find what the top meme left in the queue is. Sleight of Hand, God bless you. All right, we're gonna try and go off. We're gonna try and go off now. We have plenty of mana here. Landfall's not a meme. Landfall's a good aggressive deck. Y'all need to learn what the definition of a meme is, okay? Innocent Smith, I'm not sure if you're trolling or not. I'm gonna give you a break anyways. There's a Glittering Wish. Do, 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 do. You can wish for Summoner's Pact to grab Visor now. That's like a combo. That's like a full combo troll right there. All right, we're running out of cards in our deck. So we're gonna hang tight for a second here. So they're deterministically dead at this point. We get the Flesh Blood. And I get to go ahead and cast this Opt, which gives me power, and then cast the Flesh Blood, which gives me power. We're not playing Legacy today, but we do play a reasonable amount of Legacy on stream. All right. We're 2-0. We won the first match 2-0, and we're now 1-0 in the league. While we wait for the second match to pop, I'd just like to thank everyone for hanging out here today. My name's Jeff Hoagland. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I stream Magic full time here on Twitch. I'm here 30 plus hours a week. We play a ton of Modern. We're going to play a bunch of Legacy later this week with the new unbannings that are sweet. If you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are the people that keep me employed here full time. They're the reason that I have a job. You can also support my stuff by supporting some of my wonderful sponsors. Cardsteer.com would love to help you turn some of your cards into other cards or cash like with other players. There's no haggling. They just take 1% fee off the top. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles. Using promo code Jeff5, you can save 5% on Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards with them. And of course, this stream wouldn't be possible without viewers like Anaronix, Justin Nivik, and all y'all out there. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, if you do enjoy the stream, hit that follow button. If you can't catch all of the stream live, be sure to check out the replay later on YouTube. YouTube.com/Jeff Hoagland. 100% of my streams get archived there, and I break them up by deck and by matchups. You can watch just the stuff that you care about. What are you most excited to try in Legacy? I really want to play more of the Blazing Shoal Infect deck. It seems really sweet. And like that style of combo deck, it was the type of decks that like the Deathrite Shaman decks really tend to beat up on. So Team America, the future of Hex feels uncertain at the moment, and there are a lot of people rushing to try and sell out. So I don't know that there's currently a good way to sell your cards. Thoughtseize, that's rude. Found a Leyline matchup. The most difficult decks for this deck to keep up with and beat are the decks that attack you with disruption on multiple axes. So you can beat discard decks, you can beat decks with permanent base disruption, you can beat counter spells. You have a really hard time beating decks that mix and match those two of those three together. Maybe Terminator, I don't know. It depends on what's good, what's bad, what I like, what I don't like. We're not playing a Legacy team event until November, so we've got some time to figure things out. Oh, Lantern Control. This matchup's actually pretty good for us, I think. Our deck draws a lot of cards. Cheating in Magic can't happen by mistake. I think a lot of players that like to call mistakes that happen on camera cheating are people that are speaking from a place where they've never been on camera and probably never will be on camera, which means all of the thousands or hundreds or dozens of mistakes that they've made while playing Magic, they have no idea they actually happened because they just weren't recorded for them. Yeah, if they turbo mill us, we could be in trouble. Am I supposed to cantrip some more here? I really don't want them to mill all of the lands out of my deck, though, which is the problem. Yeah, Death Shadow decks are very, very hard to beat. Perfect. I can probably combo here, right? Actually, I could probably just go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this Glittering Wish back on top of my deck. go ahead and cast this Manamorphose. And then our bottleneck is cards right now, not mana. But the Glittering Wish, we don't want to loot because we know Glittering Wish is on top of our deck. But Glittering Wish is going to get a Scarscale Ritual, which lets us stretch cards. We're not 100% guaranteed to win here, but we're a pretty strong favorite, I think. Now, I am going to take a blind loot when I don't know the top card of my deck, because hitting Nagging Thoughts or Fatestitcher is valuable. What's wrong with the ad size? It looks like it's fine. I'll look at it later and just double check, but it looks fine at a glance here. So we could miss on this loot looking for a thing and then these two draws for sure. The Nagging Thoughts hit here. This is why you blind loot. The Nagging Thoughts hit here probably means we're good to go off. And again, you want to respond to these untapped triggers by floating mana. And again, I'm going to blind loot. It feels a little bit bad to loot through a card you kind of wanted. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's just kind of like I never drew that card in the first place. Well, that's a good one to hit. The second Ascendancy should mean we're good to go here. Are we killing them on turn 3 through a discard spell? We are, aren't we? This is a turn 3 kill through a discard spell. That's kind of absurd. Nice Lantern deck. I think this deck is very good. I played this deck at a paper tournament for a reason. I think this deck is very powerful and it's definitely very consistent. It does the same thing basically every game. We've not played the Legacy JAC deck yet. Those are great ones to lead through. Hey, look, a Nagging Thoughts. Yeah, this game's locked up. We are. And this is, at this point in a paper tournament, I would flip my cards over and just like explain to my opponent that they're going to be dead. I'm going to cast a bunch of spells and like diddle around and they're like, welcome to sit there while I masturbate vigorously, but like they are dead and this game has ended. They are getting attacked for lethal this turn. They're dead on board right now. I guess I should stop looting. I'm just showing them cards out of my deck. Yeah, we actually have lethal attackers at this point, so I can stop. So remember, you can win outside of combat by using Glittering Wish to get Flesh Blood, but you can also just win by attacking them. If you're interested in building this deck, it can actually be very cheap to build and still be very competitive. If you look at my full primer on gatheringmagic.com, there are builds of this deck that don't use fetch lands. There's builds of this deck that don't play engineered explosives. There's builds of this deck that don't play Leyline of Sanctity. So you can kind of build it in pieces as you acquire more cards for it. So this is definitely a Leyline of Sanctity matchup, right? This is definitely a Leyline of Sanctity matchup, right? There's like no way they can beat that card. Yep, I bet they'll think Bridge is good next game too. I agree. So if I want Leyline, do I cut these explosives? Because explosives also seems okay, but Leyline is just better, right? Yeah, E is historically very good versus Lantern, but like a lot of their Lantern cards don't have a like super meaningful impact against us, and we need to keep our 1-mana creatures into play. Especially if we have a Leyline out, like the engineered explosives is worse. I feel like that's too many cards though, Zach. I think it's too many cards. Well, I don't need Fatestitcher to win is the thing though. And like if they do needle Fatestitcher because of Glittering Wish, I can still get Wear Tears and Decays. Yeah, I think I'm actually just gonna board like this. I'm just gonna bring in 4 Leylines and I'm gonna cut 2 explosives, the Silence and the Wisps. Leyline's definitely the best card. The question is, do you want explosives on top of Leyline? And I think the answer is no. Overboarding is one of the worst things. If they board into Leyline themselves, I just Glittering Wish for Wear Tear and destroy it. Do some reading, Johnny. Look around at some of the things that are going on with the game. I'm not going to get into it on stream now. What are the worst matchups? Burn is pretty terrible for you, and Death Shadow is pretty terrible for you, Grixis Shadow. Like I said earlier, decks that mix and match the type of removal that they play, or the interactions they play, are pretty terrible for you. Normally, I'd mulligan pretty aggressively for Leyline, but I think the fact that this hand has, like, land, ascendancy, and cantrips means I need to keep it. Oh, I think I need to refresh. That should get fixed when I reload the stream. That'll be fine. It'll be good for today. No, I don't think Abrupt Decay is people. So like, I'm just gonna time you out. Just get the fuck out of here. We're like, what are the bad matchups? Well, here's the bad matchups. No, they're also this too. It's like, actually, I've played this deck a lot. There are a lot of the decks we play on stream where I'll definitely defer to people and be like, I haven't played much of this deck. I don't really know what's good or bad. But this deck, I've played with this deck a bunch. I am pretty confident in which matchups are good and which matchups are bad and how most of them play out. So if you're gonna try and disagree with me on what you think this deck's good or bad matchups are, you better have a very good reason to and defend your thought. Wishing for graveyard hate is very slow, and most of the graveyard decks in the format that you want hate against, you can just race them. So I'm going to Serum Visions first, so that way if we top, we can draw it with Abundant Growth. I guess I'll take a Glittering Wish at this point. Maybe I'm supposed to top... I'm probably supposed to top the land as a bluff, because they're going to mill us in response here. This is a good tip in general for folks. You should read chat rules before you're going to type in chat on Twitch. That's a good life advice. You should read the rules at various places if you're going to go into them. It isn't just about keeping the Ascendancy off the table. Not only are there a lot of decks that can't remove multiple Ascendancies from play, but those decks also tend to not combine pressure with their ability to do that. Disruption doesn't beat combo decks. This deck is like 30 cantrips. The fact that this deck reassembles very quickly is very, very good. They're down to one card in their hand here, so... And this is actually another thing I love. I love that we can just cast Leyline in the middle of a match. That's definitely have come up before. It's awesome, Zarg, isn't it? And thank you for the support. Welcome to a live one. I appreciate that. Yeah, the Stream Decker is great technology. We definitely, the games we lose here definitely involve being turbo milled, I think. So it's a little bit scary. They draw Thoughtseize. Inquisition, get out of here. Oh, they can take my Nagging Thoughts and I can't play it for Madness. That's unfortunate. Worth casting the bird, though, because I wanted to get the Leyline into play. I think the one mistake I made this game was that I definitely should have... put the land on top of my Glittering Wish when I played the Abundant Growth, so that way if they milled me in response, I would have drawn the Glittering Wish. So this still works, but these two will be turned off here. And then we can play this Fatestitcher and get like this anemic beatdown plan going. Sweet. Can play Fatestitcher and still attack for 1 this turn. Of course, we have a clip. Welcome. Good morning. Afternoon. Gosh, it's noon already. All right. Well, they can Codex Shredder us. They're shreddering themselves. Shreddering themselves makes sense. So they can Shredder and pick this Tezzeret back up here now. Which actually lets them attack us to death pretty quickly, right? Is this ultimate target player? It does. Sweet. So I assume they're gonna make 5/5s and beat us to death here. I'm aware they can't shred me. They shredded themselves and then picked it back up. No 5/5 is kind of like, well, that's interesting. So they get Ensnaring Bridge, but they can't play it yet. So probably play out our cantrips this turn, looking for Ascendancy or Glittering Wish so we can go off. That lets me put Ascendancy into play, right? It's actually kind of unfortunate here. So because of my sequencing here, I actually could have comboed if I would have played the Cerulean Wisps first. And maybe I should have done that just because I have so much mana here. It's very possible I should have played the Cerulean Wisps first. Because, like, now my opponent has a chance to do stuff next turn. So if I would have... Because this card costs 0 mana, basically, because it's able to... It untaps the creature that you target with it. There's actually a non-zero chance that did they draw Abrupt Decay? For fuck's sake. That's so frustrating. Why is Opt correct in a vacuum? I actually can't think of a reason it's correct. I actually can't think of a reason it's correct. Why is it correct? So, like, what, basically, like, in order for it to be the correct play, you have to have a reason why doing that is, I'm just, get the fuck out of here. I never said Abrupt Decay was bad against our deck. I never said that. I said decks that tend to play Abrupt Decay aren't bad matchups. That's different. Oh, and the one out of my sideboard is already gone. So I can't go get the other one out of my sideboard now. Yeah, that's true, Muck. Because of the Leyline, it's right to not play it out. I didn't think about not playing it out because I wanted to get it out of my hand, but because I have Leyline in play, it's right to just wait, probably. But Opt doesn't... So... Playing Opt, so here, let me take a moment and explain why it was correct to play the Cerulean Wisp first the previous turn. The reason why it's correct to play the Cerulean Wisp first the previous turn is because if we end up finding the Glittering Wish for Ascendancy, we can't combo. Whereas if we Cerulean Wisps into it, we can potentially combo that turn and very likely do. As opposed to playing the Opt first, which doesn't increase our chances of comboing at all. Yes, that they could have taken critical cards away from us with Pixis, so there's a non-zero chance we just can't win the game. I could Glittering for Wear Tear. That doesn't accomplish anything. Like, again, just like don't take random actions. I've been banned in the only format I was playable in. 2-2 for 2. Thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime support. I appreciate it. Welcome. And again, like, these are, people often look at games like this and start to suggest like, well, you should play these specific narrow sideboard cards to try and win games like this. And like, the answer is like, the reason why I'm in this spot this game is because I fucked up. And if I wouldn't have fucked up, I wouldn't need narrow cards in my sideboard. So you shouldn't make deck building changes to your deck to make up for the fact that you made a mistake. You should just play better next time. I think that's something I hear as a suggestion from people that they want to do a lot of the time, is that they want to make a change to their deck to make up for a gameplay mistake that they made. And it's like, in reality, you should work on changing the play patterns or not making the mistake next time, as opposed to adjusting your deck to compensate for the next time you make that mistake. Ascendancy? So I'm actually going to do this, and then next turn I can tap one of these plus chump with Noble Hierarch, and then I can start tapping them both every turn. The problem is that, like, with this Pixis going, there's a good chance they've just, like, milled through our important cards, and we're just not going to be able to win the game. So I'm going to tap this. We ended up doing 22 hours total, which wasn't bad. Looking for an Ascendancy here. Peace, Civ. Have a good one. Yeah, Grixis Delver's not a deck in Modern, though. Might not be a deck in Legacy anymore, either. They're picking Tezzeret back up, sure. To another Hogland Beam because Dr. Shaman doesn't exist. That's true. Of course there's not a known Scrybug. Definitely can't prove it. But we can assume that Magic Online has been written with the Shuffler has been written with the same pristine quality as the rest of Magic Online. Like to diddle that one. Alright, I'm gonna try game 3 on the play here. Definitely punted that one with my sequencing of the cantrip on that one turn. I'm gonna trim this up and put this extra wisps in on the play. No, because I have a finite number of Glittering Wishes. Oh, Thera, please rewatch the stream from earlier and for thoughts on why we're not bringing Engineered Explosive. I'm not going to get back into it now. We talked about it in between Game 1 and Game 2 pretty extensively. So, people that are just joining us, be sure to check out the stream replay later. I'm not going to spend 2 minutes talking about Engineered Explosives again, but I'm pretty confident we don't want it in our deck right now. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. It's hard to pass up Leyline land cantrip, Mana Dork. It says most of the stuff we're looking for. I don't know. Probably a mix of like more Manamorphose and Rituals, maybe. Does that deck play Street Wraith? You just play Street Wraith. That's the easiest one, right? That deck doesn't usually play Street Wraith. I'm gonna grab a Breeding Pool here. I'm gonna go top here, actually. So we don't really want a third land the way our hand is, but if they play a Pixis and mill us, I want to draw a second land. Thanks, Anoronics. Yeah, it's definitely a lot going on. Yeah, a lot of the masterpieces are randomly cheaper. It's funny, the Lantern being in play actually offers us a lot of valuable insight on what's going on, too. Just with all the cantrips that we have. Also lets us know when we have another miserable draw coming up. Hey, Jeff, can you put these towards the Merfolk? 10 out of 10, Mighty Roosh. Will do. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. So we're looking to dodge Pixis, because that's their one that allows them to interact with the top of our deck through a ley line. He said sadly to himself. Why did I say it? That's a question I often ask myself. Why did I do this to myself? No hoogling. Yeah, the reasoning they gave for banning Probe and Deathrite Shaman could probably be applied to half the cards that are legacy legal that still see play. So, like, you probably ban Brainstorm and a lot of other things under the same logic that they used to ban Cataxian Probe. It's not going to have a significant impact. It'll see play and help decks be competitive that weren't previously, but it's not going to, like, be life-changing. Them using a Pixis there is pretty okay for us. I think they don't quite realize just how many cantrips are in our deck. We have a lot of instant speed cantrips. Should I have played this? Yeah, I should have played this and started attacking for one. This could be a real line to victory. Thought seized themselves. Get their hand empty, sure. Cute. Morning, Corey. Yeah, EE on this board would be pretty okay. You're not wrong. Alright, so I just draw this turn, right? But, like, what? I need all of the cards in my hand. So, like, if they Pixis me in response, I Wisps in response, and they Pixis me in response, then I Wisps in response, and then they Lantern me. And, like, they don't have a Lantern of Insight anymore. Actually don't really care about that one, so that's fine. I'm actually going to take a shuffle here before I take this draw, because I don't want to draw a Hallowed Fountain with this. Sleight of Hand is perfect. I will take a Sleight of Hand. I could wait for them to act, but them randomly milling a bunch of cards off the top of my deck is, like, generally not good for me. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, let's go. All right. Well, we're not going to be short on mana this game, chat. Glittering Wish, please. Spell. God, that is absurd. Shouldn't have punted the second game. Thanks, Acer. I appreciate it. They ended up with a Whir on top of their deck into Ancient Stirrings. And I drew 4 lands in a row. Them giving us the opt is good. I guess they probably wanted to draw the Stirrings more than they wanted to give us the opt. Certainly far different from gambling. You're not wrong. Blah, blah, something clever with that brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month. I couldn't guaranteed take the second Ascendancy, Tom. They took it off the top with a Pixis. Pixis took it away from us. So taking the Sleight of Hand is fine. Because, you know, hopefully we're not going to brick 3 cards deep again. I think I just have to let that happen. Noxious Revival's a great draw. I think it's a great draw. It's an okay draw. Hopefully means we don't brick off. So they're out of interaction here, right? We just have to beat the bridge. So I think I have to bottom that. There's another ley line. Okay. Do I just shuffle here? I think I just shuffle here, right? Like this is like the turn. So Sleight of Hand is the best thing. The problem is, chat, we don't have a lot of cards. Again, I talk every game about identifying your bottlenecks. Our bottleneck currently is the number of cards we have. And while it doesn't cost me mana to loot there, it costs me a card to loot. And that's a big deal. And like the average card in our deck, I think, is better than a Leyline. Like any card that actually cantrips is better than a Leyline. So like basically anything that's not a creature or a land is better than a Leyline there. So it's not free. No, we know their last card's a Glimmer Void, I think. I'm pretty sure their last card is something that doesn't impact us. If I recall correctly. I wasn't paying as close attention as I probably should be, but I would love to loot. So I actually don't want to take extra loots here. No, Whir got exiled by this. So I'm looking for Nagging Thoughts or... this actually lets me know when I want to loot into Nagging Thoughts, which is sweet. So the fact that Lantern of Insight is there lets me know when I want to loot, because I'm never looting blind. Like you can see here, how I'm out of cards in my hand. This is why the like keeping the other things wasn't free and not necessarily a good idea. All right, so there's Glittering Wish, which means I can get Scarscale Ritual. So I'm gonna bottom this, top this. OP can't pitch the lanterns. There are Leyline of Sanctities in play. Oh yeah, Glittering Wish is this lethal at this point? We don't want to loot here. Virtually no desire, but props to Jeff for playing with the prowess and hoogling chat. Thanks, Nate. This is lethal, right? Because these will each get +2 bigger, which means I can just attack them. This is Glimmer Void. I'm gonna go back and check their turn now. I'm pretty sure their card is Glimmer Void. No, they played Glimmer Void from their hand. So I don't actually know the last card in their hand. I'm probably just supposed to try and kill them, right? Is it Tez? It might be Tez. I feel like I know their last card and I know it's not War of Invention. Because they haven't cantripped. The problem is that, like, if it's Whir, I lose the game. I'm pretty confident it's Tez. And if I was playing paper, I'd have been keeping track of this. There's just too much going on to, like, do that while I'm doing this, too. I'll take this loot because it's free. Ha! So this is actually really sweet. The fact that there's a Nagging Thoughts on top of our deck here means I can get Abrupt Decay here, and I don't have to stop going off because I get to loot into the Nagging Thoughts. So, you know... So we get to Abrupt Decay this, and then we get to loot into this Nagging Thoughts. No, we can beat a Whir of Invention if we continued going. Oh look, and there's another Glittering Wish. So even if they have a Whir here, I can take this Glittering Wish and cast it pre-combat and get another Abrupt Decay. So if they have a Whir, or a Wear Tear, sorry. So if they have a Whir, I get to... Yeah, now we wish for Wear Tear, and then anything they can go get, we just have covered. So I cast this, get Wear Tear. Enter combat, attack for 22. It's actually Whir of Invention. All right. Yeah. All right, so punted game. I don't know if maybe I forgot to tweet that I was playing Ascendancy. Maybe? I don't remember. Let me look. All right, well, we're 2-0 now. We're 2-0. I forgot to post the tweet that we're playing Ascendancy. Thank you. Sorry. Hopefully nobody missed it. I do try to post when we're going live with stuff. I took a screenshot but never tweeted it. No, this deck's never played Grape Shot. You don't need Grape Shot to win the game. It's just a clunky card that doesn't actually help you win. You play Flesh Blood as a way to win the game without attacking. Grape Shot doesn't solve any problems this deck has. It doesn't help you win games you're not winning otherwise. And it's a really bad card to draw. This deck's had a good Lantern matchup. We could have won that 3-0 if I would have played game 2 better. Thanks everyone for hanging out today. I appreciate it. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. We're going to be streaming a bunch of Modern today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And then the Legacy ban list updates go into effect on Magic Online on Thursday. So we will be streaming Legacy all day Thursday and Friday. Summoner's packed for the Grape Shot with the real MVP lines. Coming in clutch. Thank you for the bits tracked. Nate asked thoughts on the number of Fatestitcher. So, a lot of Jeskai Ascendancy decks that people have played. Chad Jackson, do I get a sub deck? If so, my democracy towards Delver Fate. So tier 1 subs don't get a bonus, but Delver Fate is going to happen as soon as Moon is legal. I'm going to use my dealer's choice on it. Thank you for the continued support. I appreciate it. So, this is a card that other people have played 3 and even 4 copies of in other versions of Jeskai Ascendancy in the past before I picked this deck up. And while Fatestitcher is necessary to bridge you through certain points of the combo, a lot of the time you don't need it. And it is not a card that helps you combo faster. And it is not a card that goes off through removal. So while I think it's a valuable tool mid-combo, you don't need to find it early. And when you're comboing, you tend to see more than enough cards that you don't need to prioritize getting it. So this is interesting. I kind of want to fetch Breeding Pool, play Birds of Paradise on one, but I can't actually cast Jeskai Ascendancy off of Breeding Pool Basic Island Birds. I think it's still right, though. Fetching I guess I could fetch Temple Garden. Yeah, maybe I'll just fetch... Yeah, I'm just going to fetch Temple Garden. It lets me cast Silence, too. Have you tried more Nagging Thoughts? I haven't, but every time, like, all the 2-mana cards in your deck are really clunky mid-combo a lot of the time. In fact, one of the changes I made today to the deck list, is the one that I haven't done before, is I cut a copy of... What's the card? I cut a copy of... What's it called from the deck? God, I'm blanking. I cut a copy of Manamorphose and added a copy of Cerulean Wisps because drawing 2-mana cards can often be bad mid-combo when you're choking on mana. Thoughtseize, sure. Another Leyline matchup. They are playing 8-rack. All right. Yeah, it looks like 8-rack. This is probably a pretty impossible matchup for us. Leyline will be very good, but if we can't mulligan aggressively to that, we're going to have a real bad time. I was pretty proud of that one, Enlightened Master. I was pretty pleased with myself on that name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're just dead at this point. I'm just gonna go ahead and move to the post-board game where we get to play 4 Leylines. I actually don't think Burn is unwinnable. I think Grixis Death Shadow is much harder than Burn. Yeah, but this isn't a deck that's trying to stay alive. We need to actually kill our opponent, and we need cards to kill them. So I think one of the things people do very poorly with decks like this is they try to interact too much. This is not an interactive deck. This is a kill your opponent fucking dead deck. This hand is actually great. So don't try and interact with your opponent. Kill them. That is your goal. Your goal is to kill them. You've never had surgicals on the board. I am not surprised that nothing changed in Modern. Zero surprise that nothing changed in Modern. Wizards of the Coast did what I expected them to do. Saying no changes is very easy. All right. Okie doke. Sometimes your tier 3 deck is a bad matchup against the tier 3 deck. That's just how it goes. If you wanted to ask me how to improve the smallpox matchup, I'd say try not to play against it. Honestly, it's probably not that bad if you can find Leyline in like a okay 5, 6, or 7, but you know, it's a-okay. Sounds good, Bakken. Yeah, do you wanna articulate, especially when there's multiple things that could be going on? This hand doesn't quite do enough. While it has, maybe it's good because it has all the lands in it. No, I'm just gonna mulligan for a Dorker and Ascendancy. Yeah, you know, this deck is an AB combo deck. You're looking for piece 1 plus piece 2. Generally, keeping a 7 that doesn't have either piece in it is loose, especially game 1. Yeah, exactly, Luka Talk. By the way, who watched the Open this weekend and was super fucking excited to see Tannin Grace destroy Ponza with Tron in the 15th match? Like, get the fuck out of here, Ponza. Just die. There are fewer things in life that made me smile more than that moment. Not only do I like Tannin, but I fucking hate Ponza. So, like, you know, good win, Tannin. God bless. The Dismember is a little brutal for us here. Dismember's a little brutal. I actually lost to Tron in the event I played this deck in. They kept one land. Oh, they kept one land Sphere. And then this. Okay, that's fair. I'll lead on Opt here. Looking for like lands, cantrips, or ascendancies. Serum Visions. Do I want to use up this Gemstone Mine? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to pass here. I guess I haven't played a land. No, I'm just going to pass. Death by Taco with that brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. I appreciate that. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month. The real question, chat, what deck that's currently in the queue is the most powerful meme in the queue? We're gonna need another meme after this. We're gonna need another meme after this one, chat. So what do we play? Diddle that. That's pretty good. I think I'll take the Sleight of Hand. We really need an Ascendancy here, chat. Alright, that's a slow Ascendancy. Narset Cannon is in the queue. Okay, yeah, that's... I forgot Narset Cannon was nearing the top. If we play Narset Cannon, though, I probably need 2 more decks for the day. Land. Land. I guess I can Manamorphose into a land here. I think we're gonna die here. You're not gonna play Peak. You're not gonna play Peak in Legacy any more than you're gonna play Peak in Modern. The card was good because it was free, not because it lets you see their hand. I think we're probably pretty dead here. It's bricked off on land and drawing an actual Ascendancy for too long. We're 2-0, but we're about to lose this first game in match 3. I mean, I can kill the Oblivion Stone. The problem is that, like, chat, the problem isn't answering the Oblivion Stone, chat. Is this match 4? This is match 4. I forgot. The other one was so quick I forgot. The problem isn't killing the Oblivion Stone, and chat always does this. So, like, well, this is the obvious play here. So, like, when you want to be a good Magic player, being a good Magic player isn't about identifying what the good play is on the board. Being a good Magic player is about having a game plan to actually be able to win the match. You don't want to be playing to not lose every turn. You want to be taking game actions that are guiding you to winning the game. So, like, I understand that I can Glittering Wish for Abrupt Decay or Wear Tear and kill their thing. I'm like, that's an easy play. The question is just like, do I have any sequence if they have any cards in their hand that do anything like a Karn that actually allow me to win the game? And I'm pretty sure the answer to that question is no, but I was just like, and I could have articulated that better, and I'm glad I am now, but like, I was trying to think like, what's my sequencing to allow me to actually win the game here, as opposed to like playing to not lose. Yeah, they're really obnoxious, saying all they do is hurt people that actually want to play Magic. Silence isn't amazing here, but it's Time Walk, so this is okay. It needs a land and a mana dork, or possibly just a mana dork. I don't have a good impromptu raid deck Apprentice. The card's just not good. The card's just not good. I spent a bunch of time thinking on it, and they're all bad. It's all clunky and terrible. The original impromptu raid list that we played, I'm not gonna play again. It's really bad. If you don't believe me, check YouTube. Fatestitcher is fine. If they have... Oh, we can Time Walk them with the Silence. The Silence might actually win us this game. Descendant's Path isn't very good either. Hey, Gorky, thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime sub and welcome. I appreciate it. Fatestitcher doesn't help you win the game faster. Fatestitcher is a card that's only good once you're all ready to start winning the game. And when you start winning the game, you're drawing through most of your deck while you do it. So then you don't need a lot of Fatestitchers because when you're winning, you're going to generally find one of your 2 copies. Imperial Painter and Legacy for Thursday. Sounds good, JMP. You want to ship me a specific list that you like? Thank you very much for the donation. I think we'll get to that Thursday, if not Friday for sure. I think there's a non-zero chance we don't hit it Thursday because I have four Legacy decks at 50 points already. And a lot of times we only do 4 decks. So I'm just going to cast Silence as a Time Walk here. The dislike for finance people is because there are a lot of, and this is going to sound really fucking weird to some of the finance people. There are a lot of people who play Magic the Gathering as a game that they play for fun, and they don't play Magic the Gathering to play the stock market. So when people use Magic the Gathering as a stock market, it prevents other people from playing the game to have fun. You do have a horse, and your horse is amazing. Put this towards the 24-hour lantern stream. Only 34,999 to go. Thanks for the support, Goose. It's weird. It's weird. People do play the game for fun. I found it strange too when I first found out, but the more I hear about it, the more I warmed to the idea. I have a Dismember here. Could be in a little bit of trouble because of the removal spell here. What do I want to get with this Glittering Wish now is the question. It's probably just Scarscale Ritual, and then we're hoping to find like a mana, or hoping to find a Cerulean Wisps or a Noxious Revival to keep comboing from here on out. I agree that Wizards of the Coast has the power to punish finance people more than they do. I agree with your assertion that if Wizards of the Coast wanted to punish finance people for making the game expensive, Wizards of the Coast could do that. But Wizards of the Coast doesn't seem to have a desire to do that. Don't ask me why, but they don't seem to have a desire to do that. Actually, I understand why Wizards of the Coast doesn't have a desire to do that. Wizards of the Coast doesn't want to punish finance people because finance people, by and large, make formats like Modern and Legacy expensive, and Wizards of the Coast wants you to play fucking Standard. That's why they don't punish finance people most of the time, because Wizards of the Coast wants you to play Standard because Standard creates repeat customers. That's why Standard is WotC's favorite. I have a land drop. Holy gosh, I have a land drop. I forgot I have a land drop. Huh. Thank you for reminding me of that. Usually when we're comboing, we don't have a land drop, so. I'm gonna bin. That's really unfortunate. There's a Cerulean Wisps on top of my deck here, or my discard pile, so I guess I'm putting Cerulean Wisps on top of my deck. And so this nets me a mana because it's free and it untaps my Sylvan Caryatid. Ooh, and that's another Cerulean Wisp, which nets me a mana. So now I can actually go blue... blue da ba dee da ba da. Hi. I'm gonna decline to loot here because I know what's on top of my deck, and now this is gonna untap. And then I'll make red, and now we're no longer bottlenecked on mana because double ascendancy means every time I do a thing, I get an extra mana. Yes, but so this logic, do people not understand how bad this logic is? I play Standard, but I don't buy packs. Do you know, I zoomed in it, I lost it. Do you know where the singles that you are buying come from? Do you know where those singles came from to supply? They came out of booster packs. I know this is gonna sound wild, but the singles you bought came out of booster packs. It's really, really weird, but that's where all the boosters come from. There's this big secret. It isn't this big secret place. They all came out of booster packs. Say it ain't so, right? So Past in Flames is a win more card. There are a ton of cards that people play in Jeskai Ascendancy that are really sweet when you're comboing and let you go off really super hard and win the game way more than you'd normally be winning. But those cards aren't necessary. They're cards that they're only good when you're already winning the game, when you're in a position like this. "75% of the rant equity is Jeff telling everybody to stop telling him which cards." Yep. And so honestly, part of the reason I enjoy streaming decks that other people have made a lot is because when people start suggesting terrible cards, I just get to be like, I don't know, not my deck. I don't know, not my deck. See, with this deck, I've spent so much time and effort working on this deck that, like, I really know the things that are good and bad in it, and I feel, like, emotionally invested in making sure people understand why they're bad. Alright, so they're basically dead at this point. It's just a matter of clicking, chat. Alright, so we gotta generate some fancy mana of other colors here. And again, at this point in Paper, people said to me when I played this deck in Paper that it seemed worse than playing on Magic Online, and it's actually great. At this point in Paper, I just flipped my hand over. Every time my opponent was deterministically dead in Paper, I just flipped my hand over and explained why they were dead. And they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense, next game. And it's just like, oh god, this is great. Oh god, this is so good. I mean, it tracks some stuff nicely for you, which is nice. But like, there's definitely upsides to playing it in Paper that don't exist on Magic Online. I could have been really secure here. So I would like, choose a thing you control to deal damage. I would like to deal 20 damage to you. I could have cast a Silence this turn if I really wanted to, but, you know, details. And like, if my opponent thinks they're gonna time me out, they should just like, look at how much time it took me to combo this game, realize I have 14 minutes on my clock, and just be like, well, you're not gonna time. I don't mind clicking through it, but like, you know, it's just some time equity. I should have cast Silence in case they had Force, right? You should read Fleshblood. Do exclamation point card Fleshblood. Apparently some of them don't realize things like that. This hand's pretty good. It's got Hierarch into an Ascendancy. We need another land here, but... Ding. So, my body's ready to die to a turn 3 Karn, but other than that, we're in a pretty good spot here. Oh! Idle, with that 13-month resubscription, thank you very much and welcome back. I actually don't have red mana here, huh? I actually don't have red mana. Yeah, Dead Guy Ale sounds great, actually. So we need a Manamorphose next turn to put Ascendancy into play. I have a very hard time taking your hate for community serious when you don't pay for this game. Oh, they missed a land drop. Well, that's absurdly good for us. What did they keep? All right, well, this is gonna make red, white. This is gonna make blue. And then drawing Fatestitcher there actually means we could combo next turn even if they kill this Noble Hierarch potentially. Oh, they kept a hand with Nature's Claim. That makes sense. I was like, what? What kind of hand did they keep? They kept a hand with Nature's Claim. I understand. Sleight of Hand. Take this. I cast this. I wouldn't mind hitting another land drop here. We had a bird and another land drop. Okay, so I'm gonna go bottom, top here. Attach this here. Do I want to? Yeah, I think I want to just go ahead and like breeding pool into Bird of Paradise here. Because this makes red mana now, so no reason to fetch red with that. Silence is in my deck because it's Time Walk. It's also an anti-interaction card. Is this game hard, chat? Do you think this game is tough? Is this one of them skill-based games I've heard so much about? One of them ones where the better player always wins? You're gonna get them. This will probably be the easiest combo game we've had this set. We've had a lot of really scrappy wins this set. So it's nice to have an easy one, chat. It's nice to have an easy button sometimes. Every spell we cast, just do 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 do. We don't even really need to fully combo here either, because just like every spell we cast adds 3 power to the table, so we're gonna kill them very quickly. We could maybe not like draw our whole deck combo, but like we don't need to draw our whole deck combo to kill them here. Silence them to send a message, right? All right, well, we're 3-1. 3-1. Thanks everyone for hanging out. What are we playing after this? We got, there's a bunch of not memes towards the top. I guess Narset Cannon actually is the top meme. I could play Blue-Red Kiln Fiend. I kind of want to play Blue-Red Kiln Fiend. Maybe we'll do that next. Blue-Red Fiend deck was sweet last time we played it. No, Naru's a bad deck. The Diva special. We can in fact play the Diva special. I'm gonna queue that one up for next. We're gonna play Blue-Red Kiln Fiend next. Oh, found a match. What do we got here? Yeah, this looks pretty good, right? I've got a couple of lands. I've got a cantrip. I've got a Sylvan Caryatid. I've got a slow I've got a slow Ascendancy through Glittering Wish. This and impromptu towards green-black whip. Green-black whip. Is that something I have in my queue? I do have green-black whip in my queue. Yep, 10 out of 10. Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll get to that tomorrow. First thing then, Apprentice. People, there is a difference between buying 4 copies of a card that you want to play and buying 30 copies of a card expecting its price to go up, pricing other people who only want 4 copies of the card out of the game. Buying 4 copies of a card you probably want to play at some point doesn't make you a speculator. It makes you a Magic player. Buying 30 copies of the card makes you a speculator. Sorry. It does. So I think I'm actually gonna Sleight of Hand here. Richter, with that Mr. Richter, sorry, with that brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. And there's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month. Looks like blue-white control with just some temples. Looking for an Ascendancy here. Didn't find one. I'm actually going to take a 4th land here because against control decks, you sometimes cast Fatestitcher and then tap their lands with it, which is funny. Am I a speculator? Yeah, and like buying a 4 of a card that you're like, well, this card seems really powerful and I might play it at some point in the future. Like, that's not speculating. That's buying a card that you have an interest in playing. That's different, in my opinion. We could get Supreme Verdicted next turn. I'm going to go ahead and put this Fatestitcher into play. If we get Verdicted, I'm going to feel a little bit bad. The Mack Weldon campaign did end on my channel, so we no longer have their banner rotating. They were great. I love their stuff, but they are the people that have banners on the stream send me dollar bills every single month, so they're a monthly thing. If you bought 30 copies of Anticipate, you're just an idiot. You're not a speculator. For those of you that don't have context, I might have bought a lot of copies of Anticipate once upon a time. For those of you, that wasn't. I feel like that's an inside joke that could come out poorly to people on the outside. That's an inside joke between me and people that know about me. Bed is Lisa has been added for a new sponsor. Actually, this wonderful people right here. They'd love to help you get a better night's sleep. I've been using one of their mattresses for the last little over a month now, and I really like it. All right, so I just tell them to like shut up and like let me just go. This is why we have silences in our deck. We're actually really lucky to have our one main deck copy of Silence here. Path to Exile. And I'm gonna untap this in response. Well, I beat Indy for both days. Depends on how day one goes. So, pretty good chance we combo here. So, grab our Ascendancy. They're F6 because they've been silenced. Hate to shock in this land. We are a little bit low on cards, but this Glittering Wish draws us 2 cards because it's going to get Scarscale Ritual. And again, you want to loot aggressively here because you could find copies of Nagging Thoughts or Fatestitcher just like that. So I'm going to go top here. I'm going to go ahead and play this Glittering Wish. Loot. We'll grab Scarscale Ritual. And then the fact that we hit our second Fatestitcher hero should make this really smooth. So now every spell we cast makes us 3 mana, so we just have to worry about not bricking on cards. And the fact that we're about to draw 2 extra cards means we should be pretty good there with the volume of cantrips in our deck. Like, obviously nothing's guaranteed, but we should be pretty well off here. I guess I can also just like, drawing the second Glittering Wish means I can Glittering Wish for, oh, I already got my Ascendancy out of the board, right? I did. I can Glittering Wish for a copy of, what's it called though? Flesh Blood though, which makes me attack a little bit harder. You need a little bit less power. Oh look, there's the Nagging Thoughts. So Nagging Thoughts is one of our ways to generate card advantage mid-combo. And again, just like, not really worried about floating extra mana strictly. So like, I'm being a little looser. I could be floating more mana than I am, but just like really doesn't matter at this point with how much mana I'm generating. The Black Undying deck went really poorly. It was not particularly good. We died quite horribly. And again, at this point, if you're thinking about playing this deck in paper, this is the part where you'd flip your hand over and explain to your opponent, hey, every spell I cast adds 3 power and makes 3 mana, so I'm going to be able to cast all these spells and chain through my deck, and I'm going to attack you for lethal here in a second. So deck gets much, much easier to play in paper. Obsessive Search, right? That card's banned in Legacy, right? That's the joke. Are we done here? Yeah, opponent understands. And like, I don't fault my opponent for making me click through a lot of this because they can't know that I have them deterministically dead. Like, I could have a bunch of lands in my hand. So like, that's why in paper, you just show them that, hey, you're dead, and a lot of people concede. So this is a counterspell matchup, so we want our anti-counterspell disruption. Engineered Explosives is a really easy cut for 2 of them, and then usually I trim a cantrip, either Cerulean Wisps or Opt. The way you choose which one you want between Cerulean Wisps and Opt is Cerulean Wisps is the better card if you're trying to combo aggressively, whereas Opt is the better card if you're trying to play for a little bit more mid to late game, which we're definitely trying for a little bit longer game. In these matches, we're trying to position ourselves with Silence to guarantee we can go off the turn we combo. We don't bring in cards like Abrupt Decay or Wear Tear to tag things like Detention Sphere or Search for Azcanta, because should we have a need for one of those cards, we can Glittering Wish for it. It's one of the reasons I really love Glittering Wish in this deck, is because when you board into Silence or board into Leyline, if they have something like, say, Damping Sphere that's really annoying that's going to stop us from comboing, we're not cold to it because we can fetch our answers with Glittering Wish, which is otherwise a combo piece. Retraction Helix, you don't, in my experience playing this deck, you don't need an infinite combo in it, so I don't understand what problem Retraction Helix is fixing that this deck has. So the problem with that, Drew, is generally if you're bottlenecked on mana, you're going to only have 1 mana, and if you're wishing for a Manamorphose, that means you have at least 3 mana already, which means if you can wish for Manamorphose, you're not bottlenecked on mana. Both are free. So Manamorphose is a card that you can cycle without a creature in play. So if you're not, it is a little bit worse when you're comboing, but often you're going to be in positions where you're looking for specific cards in this deck in a matchup like this. And Manamorphose is a card that gives you a free redraw when you're looking for something specific without comboing. Can I reasonably get good with this deck by Indianapolis? I don't know the answer to that question. It probably very much depends on your tolerance for if you can stand playing this deck on Magic Online. I actually don't really mind playing it on Magic Online. I don't mind playing it in paper either. This is my fallback deck for Indy. If none of the Spellstutter Sprite decks that I play, I find myself really enjoying or thinking that they're powerful, this is the deck I'm playing. That being said, I am going to work tooth and nail once we get Alpine Moon released to play a bunch of Blue-Red Delver Sprites and hopefully play that. Humans is really good. If you're unsure what deck you should be playing in Modern right now, I would recommend Humans. The deck is very, very good. I think I'm actually going to take the extra Silence here. We're pretty far away from getting anything truly meaningful going, and there's a good chance we're going to need multiple copies of Silence this game. It has such a low floor. I meant to get Hallowed Fountain there, but I was talking. It has such a low floor that it's just really bad. So one of the reasons why I like this deck is the amount of fluff in the deck, the amount of cards that don't do anything when you draw them when you're not comboing is very low. When you start adding a bunch of cards like Retraction Helix to the deck, you're going to have more and more cards that you're drawing, and you're like, well, my hand is full of a bunch of cards that don't do shit, and I can't do anything this game. One of the reasons why this deck is so consistent is because it doesn't play a bunch of cards like that. Well, that was a great draw. I think I'm actually just going to play the Steam Vents tapped and pass the turn now. And then next turn, I can go Silence, Ascendancy, Serum Visions, and hopefully start comboing. I think that seems reasonable. We have a Click. That's unfortunate. So we're going to lose our Ascendancy here. Click is very, very good against us, and not only did I shock when I didn't need to, so this is a 1-turn faster clock, but it's also Disruption. Click is easily Blue-White's Control's best card in this matchup. This is going to be our last match with this deck today, but don't go anywhere because we've got at least one more league after this one. Probably two. Usually I go till 4 or 5 o'clock on Mondays. If you want to see more with this deck, though, I have a full primer on the deck, including sideboarding notes as well as budget configurations if you want to budget some of the more expensive cards in it. There's also on gatheringmagic.com, there's also tons of videos with this deck on my YouTube channel. I love this deck. I've played it a ton. Find a bunch of information there. We're going to see a lot of cards this turn. We're going to see some cards. I think I just go top here, right? Actually, I'm going to bottom the Glittering Wish. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pass the turn now. So I actually want to leave the Ascendancy hidden so they can't fuck with it out of my hand here again. And then next turn, we'll go Silence, cast Ascendancy, cast Serum Visions, and hopefully get going. And the fact that I shocked and didn't Serum Visions that one turn is a really, really big deal. Because it takes a turn off this Vendilion Click clock. Like, I could be at 10 right now. Good chance. I guess if they have Path to Exile, if they have Path for the bird, they could be okay here. But if they just have one counter spell, we should be. Or they have nothing. Okay. Or they have nothing. We do need to find another mana source. So we're looking for Fatestitcher or a Cerulean Wisps. Like, our bottleneck right now is mana for sure. But we've got some looks here. We get to bottom. Oh, I guess I can take this Gemstone Mine, right? I haven't played a land yet this turn. Why should I stop on my own upkeep? Oh, because they could click me in response? No, they only had 2 mana. Alpine Moon is going into it from M19. All right, well, I'm just going for it here at this point, so I'm gonna discard this other Silence. If we thought we weren't going to successfully combo this turn, I would want to keep this second copy of Silence so I could use it at a future time. But the fact that I'm pretty confident we're going to combo here means I'm gonna go ahead and ditch that. I think I want to loot here. I think I want to just get through as many cards as possible. So, Sleight of Hand. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and Sleight of Hand for the time being. Because we could find a Fatestitcher yet. Cerulean Wisps is pretty good too, though. There's a Fatestitcher. So I believe Fatestitcher should lock this up. So Fatestitcher is going to ensure, and again, this is a good example of like why you don't need a bunch of Fatestitchers in your deck. When you get going, you're going to find them. You're going to see enough cards that you're going to find the Fatestitchers that you're looking for. So let's do this. Let's make blue. I guess there's a non-zero chance we could brick here still, but we're going to see a lot of cards, so it's pretty unlikely that we brick. He says as he keeps drawing more cards that could allow him to brick. So we get 3 looks here. If we draw 3, we need to draw, if we don't draw a non-creature spell in these next 3 draws, we're going to brick off. But hopefully that's not the case. I mean, I don't think this has to do with, like, I've played this game well. I don't think I've made any mistakes this game. Oh, the Fetch Shock was a mistake. I did make that mistake. I forgot about that one. All right, and that's another Ascendancy. So, the Ascendancy is really good if I draw a non-creature spell here. If I draw a non-creature spell, this Ascendancy probably locks the game up. If I brick off and die, we're probably going to lose. I have to know what Legacy decks you're most excited to try with the bannings. Also, I need my sword. I don't... Wow, they conceded. So, we were going to brick. We were going to brick. I was going to stop comboing. I was going to pass the turn back. And they decided to concede that turn. So... yeah. How much power did I have? I was going to have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was going to have 14 power, which means, in the opponent's defense, I only needed one more non-creature spell to kill them. This was my loot. This Hallowed Fountain. So, they were dead to any non-creature spell, but I didn't have it in 4 cards. Hey, I'm Rahil with the 5-month resubscription. Happy Deathrite Band-Day to you too. Welcome. Thank you for the continued support. So we finished 4-1. Like, there's no guarantee that we lose this game or the match. We were up a game here, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to kill them here. So we did finish 4-1. Again, I love this deck. I don't know if I have an informed opinion on the 3-3 split with Wisps and Manamorphose. I'll probably try that a little bit more in the future. In general, I'm pretty happy with this entire 75. There's just like small things like that. That's like a 5. We all knew it should happen. We didn't know if they'd actually do it. What are we doing next? Blue-red Kiln Fiend. Again, you want to learn more about this deck. You want a guide on how to sideboard. GatheringMagic.com. Look at my articles there. There's one on there.